Hello, hello, and welcome back to Password. So we're going to be doing day 18 of Dean's route today. And I can skip this, wow. Okay, Dean was sitting next to me on my right, and after finishing his food rested an arm over the back of my chair while he drank what was left of his coffee. I stepped out into the foyer in search of Dean. He'd know what to say, right? Or at least he'd be willing to listen. Dean? No response as I called out into the foyer. Even checking some of the side rooms, he didn't seem to be on the ground floor of the mansion as far as I could tell. I wandered over to the back door and froze briefly, hand hovering just above the handle. Breathing in, I took hold and opened it up, looking out into the yard. Dean, are you out here? Hiding halfway behind the door, I scanned the yard. Just as I was about to head back inside, I noticed his head stick out around the corner and wave. At the greenhouse, come on! Looking around again, I couldn't see any lurking among the trees, but almost sprinting over to the greenhouse where Dean was waiting for me. Slow down, you might bump into something. Patting me on the shoulder, he stepped inside and he started moving things around before addressing me again. So, what's new? What do you mean, what's new? Well, you did come just sprinting out of the house, plus you were calling for me. Did something happen? No, but I just wanted to talk. We need to talk? Well, I need to talk. Would you mind hearing me out? Had me worried there for a second. But of course, what's on your mind? He sat down on a few sacks of soil, leaving me to find a place to sit on in a overtuned ceramic pot. I'm worried, Dean. Worried about when we'll get back home. Whenever the next bad thing is going to happen, I just can't keep it together. Well, we will get home eventually. Just might take a bit. Do you think anyone off the mountain knows about the road? Honestly, it's hard to say. I know that when an explosion happens, people tend to notice. No chance someone didn't notice an explosion happening in the middle of the night. That's true. Think they'll send someone to fix it? If not fix it, then send someone to help get us off the mountain. Maybe send supplies. But how likely is that? That they know someone's even up here? There's a road, and presumably the mailman would know to deliver out this way, assuming they get mail sent to the door. I don't remember anyone showing up in the first week. Well, maybe Benson just makes trips into town and collects the mail for a private box, who knows? Maybe. I hung my head and caught Dean rubbing his knees, the silence stretching between us. What do you need to hear, Dave? What do you mean? I can't in good faith say that we're getting out of here soon. Just that it'll happen eventually. We're doing our best to stay safe and deal with what happened, but beyond that, I don't know what else I can help. What else I can help, yeah. I just wish I understood more of what's happening around me is all. My mind wanders over to the license Thanatos had given me, what it meant that Dad had been here, and and why I was here now. I found out my dad was here recently, plus all the stuff about seeing people die. Wait, your dad was here recently? But isn't he... No, I mean, I only just found out about it, like yesterday even. You're sure? I have his license to prove it. Stepping in my seat, I watched as Dean got up and kneeled in front of me, placing his hand on my shoulders. Well, what can we tackle? Did you want to look into why your dad was here, or? I know why my dad was here, but... Dean flashes me a wry smile before I continue. Plus, I got the vault working again, and it's just... That's another worry. You what? Yeah, it happened yesterday, and it's bad. What did you see? Would you even want to know? Last time I made a mess of it and upset you and Sal. I think I'd want to help. At the very least, to maybe stop things unfolding like they did last time. You're sure? What kind of friend would I be if I let you suffer through this alone? I guess so. The worst that can happen is, well, I suppose whatever you saw coming true. But it'll be easier to prevent this with two people. Right, okay, well, before we get into that, there was one other thing, too. What's that? I want to talk about how I saw you die. What? Again? We didn't get anywhere last time. We didn't have a suspect, or even really know how you died, and just... That happened, Dean. I stopped it, but like, if I didn't, someone would have had to do it, right? Well, I suppose so. Where do you want to start with that? Slumping again where I sat, I sighed. I don't know. All I do know is that it doesn't sit right with me. Should I get Orlando again? I think it's probably best to leave him alone after this morning. If he's clashing with Tyson, then he's probably holed up somewhere distracting himself. Well, if it's just the two of us, where do you want to start? I don't know. We ruled out the death caps because the cause of death, because of the time frame. You're still alive in front of me, so if you died from that, it would have happened days ago. Right. Is there anything else in there that could kill? Plenty of things. If you ate or drank enough of it, pesticide, for example. You wouldn't try that, would you? Or even accidentally. You did try the wax apple that one time. You remember that? I remember you getting told off for trying. Shucks. But no, I know what I was eating if it was any of those. The smell would give him away. So something from outside of the greenhouse. But then we're back to what happened, how it happened, right? We just went out into the woods that day. Nothing special happened, did it? You wandered off, but I'd say so. Mushroom foraging with you, then again, with Roswell, then Orlando made dinner, and you needed a break outside during it after what you saw. Yeah, I trailed off before I could apologize, remembering something else that came up when we were talking with Orlando. Roswell, what was that conversation about anyway? What? You mean the one after we got back? Yeah, you seem sure that Roswell couldn't have been it, but you never really went into detail about what you two spoke about. For good reason, Dave. But wasn't it all good stuff? Dean sat back on the ground, messing with his hands before looking away. I lied. It wasn't all that great. But most of it was. What was that part? What was the part that wasn't? Sorry, but that's best coming from Roswell. If you really want to know, but I still stand firm that he couldn't have been the one to do it. But why? Part of what we talked about was the whole Orlando pushing us together thing, right? He expressed that he was happy we were into each other, enough to consider seeing if it would work. Sounds fine, but I don't get why that clears him. Because of the promise he asked me to make. No matter what happens, that I'll look out for you. So in the face of that, I don't think it could be him. It wouldn't make sense, would it? No, I guess not. He's got a firm grip, though. I didn't think he'd have one when I offered him to shake on it to seal the deal. You shake hands when you make promises? He seems serious enough to do something. You've never shaken my hand before. Maybe he was the one that offered. You'd think I'd remember something that only happened a couple of weeks ago. Less than that, even. I guess it's not that important. But still, outside of asking Roswell, that's not much else to go off. Even then, after we came inside, everyone was already around for dinner, so who knows? I struggle to think back to what I'd seen. If there was anything important, the vision lingering just at the back of my mind, barely visible. You shook hands with Roswell. Yes. With your left or right hand. Is that important? Dean lifted his hands, miming a little before settling on one of them. Left. Pretty sure it was my left hand anyway. My heart sank, and a chill went up my spine. It couldn't have been me misremembering, but something about it seems off. Something that just didn't add up. What's wrong? Nothing. Dean picked up that I was lying immediately, poofing out his cheeks as he looked torn on how to approach. Come on, Dave. What's wrong, really? Before you tell me no, just hear me out, okay? All right. What if it was Roswell after all? Okay, what if it was Roswell? I could be misremembering, but there was something on your hand, like, I don't know, how it could be. Sugar, maybe. And sugar means Roswell? Well, no. Well, actually, yes, but not this time. Or it might be. But, just more the fact that it was on the hand he shook. So, just so I understand this right, we're assuming Roswell, who made me promise for me to look out for you, shook my hand, put something on it, and then at some point I died from it. I mean, the look on Dean was giving me a mix of worry and concern. Are you sure you want to go down this road, Dave? He's your friend. But he could be the one who killed you after all. But if something was on his hand, wouldn't he have died? You interrupted me during dinner, not him. Also means that he'd kept his cool for days after, too. Plus, if it was that death cap spore, he would have died after the 6 days, too, right? But what if it wasn't death cap spores? I'm just saying that if you go accusing him, what proof do you have that isn't just going to upset him if you're wrong? But Dean held up a hand briefly, before settling it gently on my shoulders. If Roswell planned to do it, and that's a big if, I can't think of any reason why he'd do the things leading up to it. If you want to go accusing him of something that he didn't end up doing, well, even if he planned it, think about it from how others would think, too. They might brush it off as you being paranoid or any number of things, really. But do you think we can afford the extra stress with everything going on? Dean, I just don't like the idea that that someone tried to kill you. I don't like it either. But we can't go around accusing people for things that didn't happen, can we? There's been plenty of time for him to try again, and you hadn't come to me saying that I'm in danger, have you? No, I guess not. I got up from my seat and looked out of the greenhouse towards the mansion. I fiddled with my hands as Dean came up from behind and hugged me, hooking my arms around mine. For what it's worth, I appreciate you being so worried about me, though. It's fine, really. Maybe I'm still just spooked. Something could happen to you. Any of you, really. So what happens now? Did you want to talk about this some more? Did you want to go ask Roswell? I struggle with the decision. Not sure what I wanted to do, given the doubt of the doubt of me being right or wrong. No, at least not just yet. I just don't know who else it could be, but I also don't want to go doubting my friends. If we discover anything else, we can always go back to it. I nodded slowly, breaking free of Dean's hug, to turn around and give him one of my own, his arms wrapping around me again, with one of his hands reaching to stroke the back of my head. There's still the password thing to solve, too. Right. You never did get around to telling me what's going on with that. Tyson. It's Tyson. He's going to die? From what? No, he's the one who... He kills someone? You're sure? I don't want to believe it, but... What was left of Orlando was enough. He looked crazed, maybe. Given how he was bathing this morning, I suppose I could see it, but... You're sure he did the killing? He was covered in blood, so pretty certain. That doesn't give us a lot of options. We can't go ask him about it either. Because he hasn't done it yet. Can you imagine how that conversation might go? I don't think given his current mood, he'd like being accused of murder. Not only with no evidence, but just because you saw him maybe do it in the future. Well, now I feel like I'm crazy. I didn't mean it like that. I just mean that if you're going to approach it, maybe there's a way to do it without confronting him. What do you suggest? This is clearly important to you, so other stuff can wait. Do you have any clues that can give us a starting point? Maybe. I stepped back from Dean, frowning. Things Thanatos said yesterday. Things Tyson said yesterday. I had 2 clues to go off of so far. The full moon and his headaches. Tyson said yesterday that he was getting headaches, really bad ones, typically in the morning. That's not good. Right. So maybe there's something going on with him sleeping, or maybe something's happening in his room. We should go check. There's something else too. The vision I had was on the full moon. Don't tell me. Tell you what? Full moon? Tyson killing something? Killing someone? That's just screaming werewolf, isn't it? My eyes narrow a little. Not sure what to make of Dean making the conclusion just based on those bits of information alone. But they don't exist, do they? At least, Tyson, hasn't given me the impression he's gone that feral. Right, well, turns out the word I used was just that. Werewolf. This almost feels like a sick joke. After seeing what I saw, it's hard to describe Tyson as anything else, really. So we need to, find out when the next full moon is. Plus, we should probably check Tyson's room just in case something's going on. But I have a proposal about that. About how to approach this? Right. Chances are Tyson would not be pleased about finding us in his room. But he might overlook if it's just you. You saying to split up? Pretty much. I can ask around when full moon is, and we can meet back up later. Might give us a chance to ask Roswell a few things, too. And that's safe? As grim as it is, if anything happens, you'll know for certain if it's Roswell, right? I don't think I like that implication, but maybe splitting up just this time is fine. In any case, we shouldn't split up. In any other case, we shouldn't split up. But we're just being around the house. Anything goes wrong, just yell. It'll be fine. Okay, but where are we meeting afterwards? How about we come down to the dining room, and we can take a load off there? Dean and I headed back to the house with a plan to meet up after I'd finished looking around. Okay, so I assume this is... Yeah, okay, this scene. There we go. Okay. He frowned quickly, tapping his foot. Speaking of, I didn't need to hear any of that. He'll have what you and that bear got up to. I felt myself blush under my fur, unaware that someone was listening. Was just listening, was just me listening in, though. Wasn't going to broadcast that and give myself away when questions start being asked. Oh, okay. I made my way downstairs and was about to head out into the dining room before almost running into Dean on the way out. Oh! Sorry, I was just coming back. Just as well. I was just going to come looking for you. Did the search go well? It went well, I think. I've made progress. Dean scratches his neck, nodding slowly. I don't know how much is going to help in the long run, but I managed to run into Haas, and he knew when the next full moon was. That's good, right? Hopefully. But what now? Well, I know I could go for another coffee, so how about I brew us some, and we sit down in the room for a little bit, and over there to chat. Oh, sure. I promise I won't be long. I went on ahead, splitting off from Dean and making myself comfortable. The room itself was just like many of the other rooms that lined the first floor. Maybe all repurposed into the same thing for convenience. It was hard to say. What was apparent, though, was that the room felt lonely or otherwise neglected, as it just didn't have a use anymore. Between Oswin and Benson, that wasn't enough to make use of the space. Not that they seemed to mind, but it seemed a bit of a waste. Sorry for the wait. Handing me a mug carefully, he dropped down next to me, almost spilling his own, but recovering as he settled into the chair. So, how'd your search go? It went all right. I went up to Tyson's room and looked around there for, I struggled to figure out how best to explain it. Taking a sip of my coffee brought me enough time to think of somewhat of a convincing lie. So, there wasn't anything wrong with his bed, really. Just something under it that was setting off noise, but it was making his head hurt. There was something like that under his bed? How'd it get there? Well, dropping my gaze quickly, I grimaced, hoping Tyson would forgive me for telling him this. Tyson's been stealing things from around the house, it looks like, so probably something he picked up from somewhere. His room was a mess, so chances are it just rolled under the bed. I scratched my cheek, wondering if it was convincing enough, and checked for Dean's reaction. Huh. What? Normally I'd have some choice words to say about stealing, but I think maybe this once he's suffered enough. It'd be worth asking him directly, though, after we're in the clear. Right. We can't have him stealing things. Not that I blame him. It's rough back home, but still. Might not need all that stuff when it comes from... when we come away from this vacation with that money that was offered. Dean, we can't just take that, can we? I'm just saying that's maybe an option we can look at later. Something that doesn't get him accused of something bad, on top of everything else that will be going on when we escape. I guess. What about your investigation, though? I think I've solved the reason Ty is going nuts, unless we know how long I need to keep the checked off. It's not very useful to us. Tomorrow night, actually. I nodded slowly, drinking. So just getting him through tonight and tomorrow night, and we're in the clear. It should be easy enough. This feels like something we should be telling the others. I'd rather not, but I have a reason. Oh yeah? Just between the two of us, I think we have solved it. We have it solved. But if we tell the others, then they'll know. Isn't that kind of the point? No, I mean, think back to when we were in the greenhouse. Someone wanted you dead. Maybe the same person wanted Orlando dead, and was just using Ty to do it. So it's like you're worried about Benson all over again. about the killer getting away because now everyone knows what was going about. I guess sorta like that, yeah. Well, I think I'd like to have a group talk about it after we are clear. It's better we're all on the same page, and chances are, by the time the person behind it would... God, I can't... Oh, excuse me. Would already know their plan failed. Right. Dean and I just sat there quietly for a bit, drinking our coffee before he broke the silence. So, what did you want to talk about now? This might be coming out of nowhere, but what was your ex-boyfriend like? Dean almost choked on his coffee, coughing and sputtering as he tried setting his mug. Sorry, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. No, just... that really did catch me off guard. What... did you want to know about him? What was he like? Well, it's been a few years since we last saw each other, so I can only really tell you what it was like when we were, dating? I suppose it was like that. Was he like me? Dean looks me over, thinking hard. Shorter, by a fair bit. Wasn't a hyena either. Oh. What about not physical things? Let's see. He was stubborn, really stubborn. But he took charge, and that was kind of nice. I could just take it easy, and he sorted things out. That's kind of like Tyson. Oh, no. Perhaps my phrasing is wrong. It was more a front, maybe? He was a kind soul at heart, but was just very selective of who he dropped his shield around. So, what made him drop them around you? Honestly, I don't really know. Maybe he just latched onto me because I was, bigger. Maybe it was, something else. But I'm glad he did. So he's like Tyson? Rami wasn't like Tyson. At least I don't think so. So, how are we similar, then? Similar? Let me think. He wasn't a hyena, wasn't my height. He sounds like Tyson. Maybe you should date Tyson. I'll pass. Thank you on very much. Why don't you want to date Tyson? He's a fun, eligible bachelor. I snicker, setting down my coffee before I spilled it. Come on, I'm just looking for what things we have in common, like, why me? Well, physically, the similarities aren't all that much. It's mostly just the teeth and the eyes. Without realizing, I started rubbing my teeth, trying to puzzle it out. That's really the only thing that caught my eye, as silly as it is. I think it's a cute look, but what really got me was that look in your eye. That told me that you were someone sensitive deep down. Well, I am, except also not so deep down, too. Yeah, I get that. But at the time, you were just kinda there. If, that makes sense. What I saw was something closer to, like, the you inside. I wanted to get to know that person better. You know that normal people, don't go asking people out on dates out of the blue, right? Well, it worked. We're here now, aren't we? I guess that's true. Oh, right. Before I forget. Tomorrow night, I need you for something. Well, what kind of thing? A good thing. You'll like it. Is this, the thing you mentioned yesterday? Maybe. What about stopping Tyson? I promise it won't take all night. I don't know, Dean. Trust me. He reaches out and took my hand in his, flashing that smile at me. Well, if you say it's a good thing, sure. Dean settled back, pleased with the answer, and took up his coffee again. And that's it? Until tomorrow, yep. Don't need to worry about anything else, aside from spending the rest of the day waiting for dinner. We chatted some more about random things, with the next round of coffee made by me. Then we went back to the greenhouse for a bit so Dean could check on a few things before we headed back inside for the day to take it easy some more. Okay. Oh, okay, so that conversation's the same. Without thinking, I just went to Dean's room, stripping down to my underwear and opening up the door to the bathroom. Oh! I walked right into Dean, the smell of soap lingering on his fur. A hand reached out and grabbed me to stop me from falling backwards onto the floor, and once stable, he brushed me off. Oh, well, this is a surprise. You weren't planning on joining me in the shower, were you? Oh, not exactly, no. Probably for the best, anyway. All that work in the greenhouse made me feel kind of gross. Being able to wash at my own pace is nice. He looked me up and down and gestured back to the bathroom with his thumb. You're welcome to grab a shower, though. I'm sure you'll, explain everything once you're out. Oh, that's not all that much to explain, really. Tyson's going to borrow my room, and I just assumed that you could share my bed? Well, yeah, that's, fine, right? All things considered. Even if you didn't have the excuse, I'd be alright with it. Go on, clean. Wasting no time, I jump into the shower, starting to scrub. Dean's shampoo was still here, and I took some for myself, assuming that too was fine. The smell of honey hit my nose, the sweet scent lingering as I rinse off, although roughly lathering up. Midway through, I hear Dean enter the bathroom again, and I freeze on the spot. Dean? Everything okay? Just doing my teeth. Already let the others know that you've resurfaced as well. No one seemed to know you were back from your search. Oh, yeah, I guess I forgot. You should be more careful than that. He chuckled, and I could hear some scrubbing going on. I continued washing, rinsing myself off as Dean left the bathroom, having finished brushing his teeth. Stepping out of the bathroom in my towel, I flick off the lights before stepping into my underwear. Feeling better? I feel clean at least. Better, well, will just depend on how things turn out tomorrow. You have every right to worry, but it should sort itself out, right? Yeah, I guess so. Yawning, I wandered over to the bed, where Dean was sitting, and dropped down next to him. He placed an arm around my back and held me close. My head found that small crook in his shoulder, and I nestled in, yawning again. You're that tired? I guess today just took a lot out of me. More than it should have, anyway. Well, come on then. Let's get comfy, and we can get some resting in. I want to be up a little earlier if I can get things organized, but you're welcome to stay in bed. It didn't take much for Dean to shift around in bed to lay me back. The moment my head hit the pillow, my body felt like lead, and I basked in the comfort and warmth Dean provided. He lay next to me, still on his phone, for a little bit doing something. I rolled over to cuddled in all the same. Hooking an arm around me, I used his chest as a pillow and fell asleep to the sound of his steady beating heart. Okay, end of demo. Cool. Alright. So that's the end of Dean's done. So I don't know who I'm doing next, because that means I'm caught up with day 18 with Tyson, Dean, and Hoss. That's half the cast down. So Roswell, Sal, and Orlando are left. I don't know who I'm going to pick yet, but I guess you'll find out next time.